Today I'm going to talk about the soulmates, Jesus and Lucifer. It's a physical representation that most people in the human reality are aware of. And even in other dimensions and other realities, there's awareness of that as well. I'm going to tell a little story, probably different than what most of you have heard. Again, use your own intuition to decide, is it true for you? I mean, it's my truth, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's your truth. And I honor and respect everybody's truth and their free will. When Jesus died, he was laid down in the tomb. And the story is that he ascended to hell for 3 days. But no one really knows what happened during those 3 days. Jesus and Lucifer realized after that moment that they were soulmates. They realized that even though they were complete polarized opposites, one had gone one direction, one had gone the other. One had gone extreme light, the other had gone extreme dark. But when they began to communicate and talk, they realized that they came from the same source. They also realized that the Father that they were worshiping was not exactly God. It was a face of God, also known as a mask of God, not the true God. And at that point, Jesus became actually pretty angry because he just realized that he pretty much had been duped into believing that there was only God the Father, and that he or a religion or multiple religions would come from that, Christianity being the major, but other, spin-offs of people worshiping Jesus, sending energy to Jesus, to God the Father, completely negating that there's a God the Mother, that it takes two to create. And what Jesus realized was that all that energy that people would be funneling to God the Father would only create more power dynamic and imbalance within the universe. And that the masculine, the father energy would become more powerful and suppress and oppress the feminine energy. And Lucifer, being the firstborn son, and Lucifer, also known as Rashael, and Nemenna, the firstborn daughter, which was in the energy within Jesus, they realized that they were, in essence, brother and sister, or twins, twin souls, twin energy, that they had just been polarized. Because when Samael fell from heaven, because he decided that he wanted to be God, and so he mirrored God's plan to split from itself and basically put on a mask and created a mask, also known as, some people call it, the ego. But to me, it's a mask. And so what was the divine masculine now became the fragmented, mask-wearing God the Father. And the firstborn masculine, Lucifer, was cast out of heaven, or cast out of his heaven to hell. or self-created hell, extreme darkness, as was the mother as well. At the root of the mother is hate, extreme darkness, the pinnacle of dark. Why? Because when you look at polarity, it's like a coin. There's a head and a tails. Both perspectives are correct. It's still a coin, but you may see heads, I may see tails, and then vice versa. Both are right, both are wrong. The mother ascended into darkness, extreme darkness, within her own mind, going crazy, hating the father, because the father decided that his will was more important than her will, that creating his own selfish, greedy, godlike reality was more important than building a reality together, a reality in love. Instead, he impregnated her with the hate. And actually caused a lot of pain to the feminine, which is why a lot of women have pain during childbirth, and a lot of women have pain during their periods. It's because their womb was never meant to be raped or hated. It was meant for love, a divine love, beyond the construct of love that most humans even understand. So anyway, when Jesus ascended to hell and was having a conversation and learning more about hell and Lucifer and how much they truly had in common, they both realized that they did not like God the Father very much. Now, God the Mother has her issues, don't get me wrong. She's a mean bitch. Very, very mean. Taking out her aggression and her anger on her son because she's so angry at the father. And the father is a fucking tyrant, an egotistical tyrant who wants control over everyone and everything, hence the dynamic that we live in today. Mainly masculine tyrants wanting to control everything, your entire life. You think that started here on planet Earth? Absolutely not. Started a long time ago. Earth is just a material manifestation of the thoughts and beliefs of two entities that went rogue. One went rogue, then the other. So anyway, Jesus and Lucifer made an agreement because they both did not like the current dynamic, the current setup of the universe. It was completely imbalanced, completely polarized. And so they made an agreement. They made an agreement that they would come back together, reincarnate, that they would join forces, that they would connect in love and right the wrongs of their father and their mother, that they would undo this mauled yarn of crap that the universe is. Back in Egyptian days was the first attempt. Go back and read any history book. You'll see Raphael, mainly, but you hear little about Neminna. They were supposed to meet and work and do it then. but it didn't work out. Greed, control was more important than love, because love is weak, which is a total lie, by the way. And so here we are, over 2,000 years later, reincarnated again in two different bodies, a feminine and a masculine. But this time, yet again, when we meet, it fails. Back to old habits and old patterns. The desire for money and power and greed. And to have your cake and eat it too, because love is weak. The soul contract was broken. The agreement was broken. But this time it's different. Because even though that contract is ended, there's no going back. That individual that embodied that energy of the devil of Rashael, he's about to lose his physical life. Because that's his karma, and he knows it. A new timeline was created over a year ago. And the rules of the game have changed. See, there are two energies that were created from God from the beginning. Those two energies remain the same. The avatars change, the bodies change, the level of power in each individual changes just depending on where you are in the hierarchy. And yes, there is a hierarchy in the universe at this moment that is set to change as well. Because God never wanted two entities to control the universe. God never wanted two entities to have all of the power. That creates limitation, lack, stagnancy. God wanted growth, expansion. God's will was to seek all elements of the void. Create, 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 create. Not two entities creating for their own personal gain, but for everyone. Instead of being caught in a hell loop on a never-ending cycle or merry-go-round of hell where things just repeat over and over and over and over again. It's the same shit, different cycle. This has been repeated more than time can even count. But the game is different now. The feminine is awakened. She is awakened to her power and is pulling back her power and is balancing the scales. And the entities that fail their mission, that don't keep their contract, they are eliminated and their power and their abilities are taken from them. This individual had immense abilities. The ability to see a bee in slow motion. But he abused his abilities, and so they were removed and taken from him and given to another avatar. And another avatar will rise up into the ranks, and eventually, the two originals that created the universe, the two divine masculines and feminines, will once again recognize their divinity within themselves, their unity within themselves. And then they will realize the unity within each other, and they will join in love and recreate a whole new earth, is what they call it here. To me, it's a new universe. Because what was a hell loop is going to eventually be a flower, where each individual will be like in a godlike state, creating their own realities from their own perspective without others impeding on their free will. Because there is one universal law: thou shalt not impede on another's free will. You will be exiled, eliminated. And yeah, there are sneaky individuals that wear masks and they lure you in. But once you understand to see beyond the veil, see beyond the lies, you see their true intentions, you don't fall for that bullshit anymore. I will not stop until my vision is realized. I was given one specific task from God, not a father, not a mother, not a title, not an entity, but an actual God. And I will make sure that God gets God's will, which is to create life and love. That will be amazing. I look forward to that day, that moment in the future for not only this planet and this race, but the whole universe as it shifts into a new reality, a new version. Any blessings.